Islamic family law shapes Muslims' right in marriage and divorce, while Sharia emphasizes justice and protection. The way procedures are carried out often falls disputes. Men can pronounce talaq easily, but women face tougher fasad processes with heavy evidence burdens, plus delays and paperwork overload. With over 46,000 cases in 2022, family stability and social justice are at risk. That's why reforms matter. Streamlining processes, reducing delays, and ensuring fairness in multicultural Malaysia will make the system more just and protective for everyone.
In recent years, divorce rates in Malaysia have increased significantly, affecting both Muslim and non-Muslim communities. One key factor contributing to this issue is early marriage, which often result in unstable relationships due to emotional and financial impreparedness. Within the Sharia divorce system, there is a noticeable imbalance in procedures. Men are able to divorce easily through talaq, while women must go through lengthy fasad processes that require proof of harm or neglect. This situation places women at a disadvantage, especially when it comes to maintenance, child support, and legal protection after divorce. Although Islamic principles emphasize justice, fairness, and the protection of women through Maqasid al-Sharia, there remains a gap between these ideas and their practical implementation. This highlights the ongoing issue of gender inequality within the Malaysian divorce system.
Significant of issue. Gender inequality in the divorce process is in Malaysia. From an Islamic perspective, Islamic principle in Islam, divorce is guided by the principle of justice, adil, compassion, and fairness. This value aim to protect the dignity and right of both husband and wife. Islam does not encourage oppression or unfair treatment in marital matters. For the current practice, however, in current practice, we can see difference in how divorce is carried out. Men are able to pronounce talaq relatively easily, while women often face long and complicated procedures such as fasakh, khul, or talik. Gender inequality. The situation creates gender inequality, but it is important to note that the inequality exists in legal procedures, not in Islamic teaching themselves. As a result, many women experience emotional and financial hardship. This also affects children and can treat family stability and social well-being. Therefore, it is an Islamic responsibility to ensure fair and just divorce procedure. By doing so, we uphold the true values of Islam, which promote justice, mercy, and equality.
Now I will talk about the relevant Sharia principles and rulings. So first, let's look at the concept of talaq. In Malaysia, talaq allows husband to end a marriage without the wife's consent. Although this is recognized under Islamic family law, which it creates an imbalance of power because women cannot divorce as easily as men. Women must apply for fasakh and fulfill strict conditions, which place a heavier burden on them. So the second one is fasakh. Women are required to prove darar, which means that includes physical and emotional harm. However, emotional darar is often difficult to prove as courts require strong evidence. This process increases the emotional and legal burden faced by women during divorce proceedings. So the third one is talik, or known as conditional talaq, which is intended to protect both the husband and wife. However, in practice, husbands often have more control over the outcome. Different Sharia courts also apply different procedures, leading to inconsistency and potential inequality for women. Okay, next is khul and mahar. In the case of khul, women are allowed to seek divorce by returning their mahar, which is a mandatory gift from the husband. This shows inequality because women must give up financial rights to end the marriage, while men can pronounce talaq without facing any financial loss. Next is mut'ah al-talaq, which is a form of financial compensation given to women after divorce and is recognized as a protection under Sharia. However, many women face issues such as disputes over the amount and delayed payments, which affect their financial security and post-divorce stability. The last one is Maqasid al-Sharia. From the perspective of Maqasid al-Sharia, divorce principles aim to ensure justice, welfare, and protection of dignity and property. However, the current legal structure and procedures in Malaysia often slow down women's access to these rights, raising questions on whether the implementation truly reflects the objectives of Sharia.
I would like to talk about scholarly opinion on divorce procedures. When talking about divorce procedures, there will be definitely so many opinions between people and even between scholars, especially in Malaysia, where there are various religions and races. In Islam, scholars think that divorce is permissible but dislike. Divorce must be a last resort after reconciliation efforts have been made. Among all types of divorce, like talaq, ta'liq, or fasakh, many scholars commented on hulu. Hulu is a type of divorce that occurs at the wife's request. Hulu is also called as talaq tebus in Malay. Scholars like Hanbali and Maliki think hulu is considered nusyuz, where the wife cannot ask for hulu without Sharia reason. Other than that, Ibn Taymiyyah and also Ibn al-Qayyim gave their own opinions. Hulu will oppress the husband, and hulu will also lead to the beginning of a breakdown in the marriage. While other scholars think that huluk is considered as nushuz, some scholars think otherwise. They said that huluk can occur without the husband's consent. Scholars like Maliki School of Thought, some other Hanafi schools, and a contemporary opinions like Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami said that the divorce can proceed even if the husband does not agree, with three conditions, such as the husband is abusive, if the husband does not provide maintenance to the wife, and if the household cannot continue anymore. In this case of huluk, the wife must pay a ransom to her husband. Some Hanafi, Maliki, and Ibn Taymiyyah are of the opinion that the husband is prohibited from taking a ransom fairly, and the husband cannot take the opportunity to impose a payment. While scholars like Shafi'i, Hanbali, and Salaf scholars also have their own opinion, they said that the husband is allowed to take more than the dowry, and the wife must be willing of whatever happens. In short, the majority of scholars agree that huluk can occur even without the husband's permissions, so that the wife's safety is guaranteed, while the rest of scholars are of the opposite opinion because it would be unjust to the husband.
Slide explains how Sharia rulings are applied in modern society. First, Islam and modern challenges. Modern Muslims face new challenges due to technology, globalization, and changing social structures. However, the core teachings of Islam remain unchanged. Applying Islamic rulings today requires understanding how Islamic guidance can address modern realities without altering the religion itself. Next, Maqasid al-Sharia, or the objectives of Islamic law. Maqasid al-Sharia focuses on protecting faith, life, intellect, property, and lineage. By understanding this objective, Muslims can apply Islamic rulings effectively in modern contexts, such as ethical, Islamic finance, digital transactions, and cashless systems. Finally, the role of scholars and ijtihad. New issues like artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and cryptocurrency require guidance from qualified scholars. Though, through ijtihad, scholars use the Quran, Sunnah, and contemporary knowledge to provide relevant rulings while remaining faithful to Islamic principles. Fourth, Islamic values in daily life. Core Islamic values such as honesty, modesty, compassion, and responsibility remain constant despite societal changes. Practicing these values in online interactions, work ethics, and family life reflects Islamic teachings in modern forms. Lastly, technology as a support for faith. Technology can strengthen religious practice when used wisely. Digital Quran apps, prayer reminders, online Islamic classes, and halal verification tools help Muslims fulfill their religious obligation in today's fast-paced lifestyle.
I want to explain about challenges and misunderstanding in a multicultural society. The first point is Malaysia the legal system. Malaysia has two legal systems. Muslim follow Sharia law and non-Muslim follow civil law. Sometimes, in case like divorce or child custody, people get confused about which court should decide the case. So, this confusion can be stress for families. The second point is mixed culture with religion. Some people mix culture with religion. Practices like early marriage or strict gender rule often come from culture, not Islam. When culture and religion are mixed, Sharia is blamed unfairly. So, it is important to separate culture from religion.
The next challenges and misunderstanding in a multicultural society is media influence and public perception. Media often highlights controversial Sharia cases, while positivity and everyday Sharia practices receive very little attention. Because of this, the public may develop negative and one-sided perception, and this misunderstanding can create tension and mistrust between different communities. Another challenge is differences in values and understanding. Malaysia is a diverse society, so people have different views on law and gender roles. Some practices such as talak and fasad are seen as unfair by certain groups, mainly due to a lack of knowledge about the principle behind Sharia law. These differences in understanding can lead to social division if they are not addressed properly.
Next is proposed solution based on Islamic principles. The first solution is to reform and speed up the fasad process so that it can be completed within a maximum 30 days. We also propose that emotional and economic harm should clearly be accepted as valid reasons for fasad, not only physical violence or neglect. This is in line with Surah An-Nisa, verse 35, which tells us to appoint arbitrators and seek first reconciliation between husband and wife. In Johor, some cases already follow this approach by fast-tracking fasad and divorce application, so that women do not have to wait a very long time to get their rights. The next solution is to have compulsory yearly training for judges and Sharia officers who handle family law cases. The main purpose of this training is to strengthen their understanding of women's rights in Islam and to correct any gender bias in decision making. This is supported by Surah Al-Baqarah verse 228, which clearly states that women also have rights similar to their responsibilities. With continuous and proper training, court decisions can become more fair, consistent, and truly reflect Islamic values of justice and compassion, especially in sensitive cases like divorce and maintenance.
So the third solution is enforcement of maintenance and childcare. So this solution is a crucial aspect of protecting the welfare of women and children. So improving automatic enforcement through controlled bank account and fines ensure that husbands fulfill their responsibility. So the Quran in Surah At-Talaq verse 65:7 emphasizes this duty. Provide maintenance according to your means. Instead, such as Perak and Johor, interim maintenance orders during the period of Ida guarantee basic needs such as food, clothing, and shelter. So the process is simple. The wife applies to the Sharia court, and the judge sets a temporary amount based on proof of the husband income. So if the husband absconds or refuses to pay, Sharia enforcement has the authority to seize assets, control bank account, or even issue an arrest warrants, so thereby safeguarding the right of the family. So this is the last solution. The last solution is Women Economy Empower programs. So these programs are vital in ensuring self-reliance and dignity, especially after divorce. So expanding Islamic-based entrepreneurship initiatives such as Mekar JPW, which combine Sharia principles with interest-free microplans. So this provide women with practical tools to rebuild their life. This was inspired by the entrepreneurial legacy of Khadijah radiallahu anhu. This program encouraged women to participate actively in business while upholding Islamic values. So for example, such as Wanita Berdaya Selangor and Tekun National have already shown success. They offers training for more than 10,000 divorced women in digital and online businesses. So ultimately, this effort helped reduce poverty among B40 women, and they help enhancing both family resilience and the wider economy.
In Malaysia, gender inequality in divorce isn't really about Islam. It's about weak implementation. Women often face longer and tougher procedures in fasaq, huluk, and alimony claims, which goes against the spirit of Maqasid Sharia, which includes justice, dignity, and family welfare. The reform we need are simple. Fasaq resolved within 30 days, yearly training for Sharia officers, stronger alimony enforcement, and solid economic programs for divorced women. If we follow through Islamic principles, the divorce process can be fairer, faster, and more protective of everyone's right.